You all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. Antoinette, roll call.
Mr. Burns?
Here.
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. D'Adriano?
Here.
Mr. Rogan?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here. Mr. Lugori, do you have the public hearing notice?
I do. This is the public hearing for the fire protection contracts for calendar year 2015. Please take notice that by resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Patterson, New York, adopted at a meeting of said board on December 16, 2015, a public hearing will be held by the Town Board of the Town of Patterson, New York at Town Hall, 1142 Route 311, Patterson, New York, on January the 13th, 2016 at 7 p.m. o'clock, or as soon thereafter as the matter can be heard, to consider the following contracts. Fire protection contract and amendment agreement with Patterson Fire Department Number 1 for the calendar year 2015 in the amount of $803,023, and fire protection contract with Putnam Lake Fire Department for the calendar year 2015 in the amount of $401,900. At said public hearing, all persons interested in the subject matter thereof shall have the opportunity to be heard. Copies of the aforesaid proposed fire protection contracts are on file with the town clerk. The town board will make every effort to assure that the hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and/or reasonable accommodations should contact the town clerk. That's it.
Just some ground rules for tonight. As our attorney said, this is a public hearing on the fire department contracts for 2015 for both Patterson and Putnam Lake. We anticipate that in a month we will be holding a second public hearing on the 2016 contracts. Tonight is more housekeeping. We cannot sign the contracts until we have had a public hearing, so we're clearing up that omission that was not done last year.
Right.
We're not going to be entertaining comments on any other subject other than those contracts. So that having been said, does anybody have any comments on the 2015 contracts? Going once?
Why wasn't it signed in 15?
Mr. Murphy, again, and any future comments, if you could go up to the mic, but we can't sign the contracts until we hold a public hearing. I believe that's a statutory requirement. For whatever reason, the town board did not have the public hearings last year. It was left over. The outgoing supervisor and the town board set the public hearings in December for this meeting. Similarly, there were never any public hearings held on the 2016 contracts. So we're going to be doing that at a later date. Didn't want to do them both tonight so that there wasn't a lot of confusion, because they are different contracts. Anyone else? Entertain a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion on the reports?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the reports of the Code Compliance Officer for December, the Code Enforcement Officer for December, the Dog and Control Officer for December, the ECI for December, the Putnam Lake Fire Department, which for which there was none, and Patterson Fire Department was none. So make a motion to approve all of those reports. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Can I get a motion on the supervisor's report?
I'll make a motion that the town board approve the supervisor's report for the month of October 2015 as presented to the town board tonight. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Can I get a motion on the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the town board minutes for December 2nd, town board minutes, meeting minutes for December 16th, and the organizational meeting minutes for January 6th. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Audit of the bills. Let's get the abstracts.
I will make a motion that the town board approve abstract number 25 dated December 30th, 2015 in the amount of $7,359.73. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Rogan.
Okay, first item on my agenda is a discussion for the solid waste disposal contract, which expires in February 21st, if I'm not mistaken. Rich has spearheaded developing the new advertisement for bids, but in essence, we have to decide as a town board to put this out for bids so that we can gain the proper information for the town board to make a decision moving forward for 2016 and beyond for our tipping fees for refuse disposal.
Correct. Just a little bit of additional information so everybody knows.
Yeah, I wanted you to step over to that microphone, but
I can still do that.
Just need
We had
hats.
initially thought that we were not going to have to put this out to bid because New York State Office of General Services had put it out for bid. However, in taking a look at the process that they laid out for us, we found that it was not in our best interest to follow the New York State OGS process, which basically was a request for qualifications subject to a second, what they call a minor bidding process. The problem with that is it doesn't let us set up the criteria which we think are favorable to looking for a sanitation bid in this, on this issue. So I prepared a bid document that is pretty much ready to go out. I do need to get the attorneys to review it, but it's not going to be released till next week, so that's where we are.
Do we need to extend the current contract?
Well, there's not a lot of information that we need to provide to get a bid back, and we know who the contractors are. So I've got it laid out for a very short bidding process. So conceivably, we will be able to award the bid for the tipping fees at the next meeting.
Great.
Are the contractors in relatively same proximity or some farther?
No, they are not, and that's one of the criteria that we need to put in our own bid. If we go with the OGS, we could end up having to drive our garbage to be dumped at a transfer station over into the center of Danbury, because they're one of the bidders that we would have to be, we would have to consider.
So the tipping fees could be cheaper, but the cost of transporting the garbage over there could be
Exactly.
much more.
Right. And currently, we're driving 12 miles to dump at a transfer station.
Is that Royal? We dumping it Royal?
It is,
Royal?
it's a subsidiary of Royal, it's not Royal.
Okay.
It's a subsidiary. So we're good to advertise this for bid?
So would you like the motion to be contingent on review from?
If you'd like.
Okay, so I'll move to authorize the advertisement for bids with the approval or the review and approval from legal counsel as soon as possible. So moved.
I second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm getting there.
Alrighty. Next item I have is a request from our recreation. Oh, is that on my agenda? Or do I have to add it? Yes, recreation requests. From the Director of Recreation, Matt Chabarro, is a position change for Sean Florence. The memo says he's requesting an upgrade from junior staff to senior staff for Sean, who's been a part of the recreation team since 2012 and is one of the hardest working and most dedicated staff members that Matt has. With this position change, he's requesting a pay rate of $10 an hour. Sean is an outstanding with all of the children that come through the doors of the rec center and a true leader amidst the other junior staff members. He says it's been an honor to watch him grow from being a young adult to the position that he holds now, and he exceeds the expectations and work ethics for the promotion. So I'll make a motion that we approve Mr. Chabarro's request for Sean Flores to go to a senior staff position of $10 an hour.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I also have a request, two requests actually, for fee waivers for use of the rec center. The first one is for the Southern Duchess Concert Band, who would like to perform at the Patterson Rec Center on Saturday, July 23rd at 7 p.m. So we use that as a bit of an announcement at this time. The concert is free to the public and has been well attended each year. The concert would not be possible without the efforts of Mr. Brian Benedict of the Duffel Bag. Mr. Jabaro is in favor of waiving the rental fee, which is a 2-hour rental at $220 for this event. I know from past years that this event has been a highlight of the use of the Patterson Rec Center. There has not been any incident with damage to the rec center for this use, so I'm in favor and will make a motion to waive this fee for the use of the Southern Duchess Concert Band for Saturday, July 23rd, 7 p.m. So moved.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The second fee waiver I have is for the American Veterans Historical Museum, who is requesting to have the U.S. Army's 42nd Infantry Division Band perform a concert at the Patterson Rec Center on Friday, August 5th at 7 p.m. Concert is also free to the public, and it is the same waiver of fees, $220. So I'll move to approve that request as well.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I would just like to add that I've routinely attended both events. They're phenomenal events. The
Fantastic.
bands are outstanding. So anybody that gets the opportunity to attend, they are in the summer, I would encourage you to do so. Okay. So first on my agenda is a resolution for the town board. We all know we all labor under high taxes. One of the primary contributors to those taxes are our school taxes. New York is one of the few states that funds those school taxes by property taxes. The resolution that we have before us tonight proposes, it actually sends a letter encouraging our state officials to consider other options other than funding schools by property tax. So, does anybody, well, I would like to introduce this resolution. Do I have a second?
A second.
Gladly. Without objection, we'll enter this resolution into the minutes as though read. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the next item on my agenda is a resolution to set a stipend for the Highway Department Secretary to act as secretary for the sanitation coordinator. It has all been within the budget. We are setting a stipend for $4,000 for the highway secretary to act as the sanitation secretary. The only change I would like to make to the resolution is that it references an annual stipend. I would like to take out the word annual because we've already missed a 2-week period and we want to play catch up. So with that change, striking out annual, I would like to move the resolution.
So it'll be retroactive? Or-
It wouldn't be retroactive, we've got to move it forward. If we leave it in annual, then Tricia's going to cut it.
What Pete is saying is that if we strike annual, it would be retro. Because in essence, it would be a salaried
It would be
amount
a
of
salary for
4,000.
the year.
Question I have is if we change that, rather than just making a motion to add in the time we've lost, if we had the position for a 4-month period and the town decided to go a different route for sanitation, would that person then be paid the $4,000 stipend for this position, even though they had only done it for 4 months?
Yes, I imagine that would occur. However, I don't believe we're going to be getting out of the sanitation business anytime soon.
Well, this is okay.
Talk about going forward down the road, maybe, possibly.
Well, I'm just thinking in terms of 4 years from now, we go a different route for some reason, and now we have we've made a decision that it's an annual salary. I just wanted to know the logistics of it, that's all.
If we cut the position, then the salary goes away.
Oh, that answered it. Okay.
So she's holding a dual position.
And that-
Secretary,
That's
okay.
why we're setting up as a
I see
dual
what you're
position,
saying. Right.
rather than simply
Amending it to her
adjusting it for
responsibilities,
salary.
right, okay.
Okay, not to belabor, but then the position goes away, the salary goes away. The town is not under any obligation to pay additional, because this amount is broken over 26 pay periods, correct?
What we're going to do is break this one over 25 pay periods,
Okay.
because we've already missed one. That's why I'm suggesting we take out the annual.
Some future year,
Yes, and it would be broken over 26.
26. So if they leave 4 months in, the town isn't obligated to make any back payment on this.
So the employee works for 4 months and then leaves.
No, not leaves. We do away with the position, let's say.
Okay, well, I understand what you're saying. You're concerned about awarding the money on the annual basis, then we terminate the position 4 months in. Are you obligated to pay the rest of the money?
Right.
So,
Correct.
no.
Okay. Then I'm happy with it.
I just have one question. Should she be filling the position as the confidential secretary to the sanitation administrator versus this AA job? What title? Shouldn't she just be the,
It's saying Margot Miller is currently the confidential secretary to the highway superintendent. She is going to be assuming the new position of administrative assistant to the sanitation administrator.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Burns.
Alrighty, first item on my agenda is a licensing agreement. As you may recall, we approved software for the assessor's office. Part of providing that software, we require a licensing agreement with the group that, I guess, supports and maintains the software. And one question as I'm reading this, they're the only game in town, right? We don't have to worry about...
They are the
I mean,
only
there's,
game
there's
in
no
town,
one else
but
we
this
can
is
send
proprietary
out to us.
software.
It's proprietary. So basically, we're obligated to enter into this contract. So this just sets forth the terms of what they provide in terms of email support during normal business hours, and then the cost if they're actually coming out to do work to address any issues with the software system. So I make a motion to approve the SDG contract. This is for the calendar year 2016, and authorize the supervisor to execute any documents, execute the documents. So moved.
Second.
Just so everybody knows that over the last few years that we've had this contract, there's no increase in the cost, there's no change in the terms of the contract. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Second item on my agenda is we auctioned off some tires for the loader. There was a prior bid that was higher, but then that prior bidder never paid, so it was re-auctioned off at a slightly lower price. So I'll make a motion to approve the acceptance of the bid through Auctions International for a set of loader tires in the amount of $360. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Last item on my agenda are budget transfers. We have several budget transfer. These are actually all wrap-ups for 2015. So budget transfer request 45 is for special counsel contractual in the sum of $6,200. Budget transfer 46 is town hall buildings equipment transfers of $1,350. Budget transfer 47 is the amount of $51 within the receiver of taxes. Budget transfer 48 is the amount of $100 within the control of dogs contractual. Budget transfer request 49 is budget transfer within the rec center of $1,000. And budget transfer 50 is amount of $2,215 having to do with balancing the budget for the sewage treatment facility. So these are basically just year-end budget transfers that are balancing the budget between different lines so that we're all in the black, ending 2015 in the black. So make a motion to approve budget transfers 45 through 50 as read. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. D'Andriano.
Okay, first item on my agenda, Putnam Lake Park Advisory Board has been minus one person for a while now, and they were looking for someone to fill a position. It's actually the unexpired term that goes to December 31st of 2021. Okay, so there was a great candidate that came forward that was interested. The advisory board interviewed her. Town board interviewed her as well tonight. We thought she was a great candidate. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Lucinda Johnson to the Park Advisory Board, Putnam Lake Park Advisory Board. So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Congratulations. Welcome.
I think we're all very, very happy that you're joining the team, and I think you're going to make a wonderful contribution.
Thank you.
Next item on my agenda is the Putnam Lake Fire Department ambulance a discussion on it. So, as we talked about last meeting, we had put together a committee to look at our EMS situation in the town and to look at how we could possibly go forward and some options we have. We do have some proposals that were put in front of us last year. We were going to ask those people that proposed those to come back to the committee itself. And the committee, again, is set up to just kind of look at all the proposals, look at all our options as far as EMS for this town, the best option economically and service-wise, and bring it back, that information back to the town board. So we do have an opportunity, since Putnam Lake no longer is providing EMS services. They did hold their ambulance for us if we wanted to purchase it going forward. One of our options might be starting our own ambulance corps or EMS service. So we were thinking maybe to purchase that ambulance just so we could secure it, so we have something if we decide to go that way. And if we decide not to go that way, if we go in another direction, we don't need it, we could always just sell it and and get what we got for it. So we did get a verbal price from Putnam Lake, which was $65,000 for their ambulance. So some discussion.
So how does anybody feel about purchasing their ambulance, keeping it in storage? I will just add that we are looking probably now at 5 different alternatives for providing ambulance service within the town. This doesn't preclude us from picking one of the other avenues. 2 of the avenues we are looking at would require us to purchase 1 and possibly 2 ambulances.
I mean, do we vet that price? That seems like a fair price. I have absolutely no idea how much an ambulance costs.
I've been looking at other websites and other venues for ambulances. I think it's in the ballpark. The ambulances that I've looked at ranged anywhere from $11,000 all the way up to $160,000 for a used ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, Patterson is currently in the process of getting a second ambulance as well.
We would just take it out of general fund at this point and mothball?
We've still
or?
got to work out the details about where we would be finding the funds for this. Trish hasn't given us a definite answer whether we would borrow the money, bond it, or take it out of a capital fund that we have.
I mean, it's certainly better to have something that we know it's been maintained, been within the town. It seems to make sense. It'd be nice if we were further along in terms of solving our ambulance problems, but it's just the way it is.
We are where we are.
Yeah,
We're
it
moving
is
as
what it
quickly
is.
as we can right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, no, I'm not criticizing. I'm just
The
saying.
reason why I bring it up tonight is because Put Lake has graciously held on to it as long as they could.
Right.
We've been kind of kicking the
can down the road.
Yeah.
Right.
So we really can't ask them to hold it on any longer. They could probably more than that for this. So,
Right.
does anybody have any comment in the fire departments?
Just
If you can come up to the mic, please.
Why does the town need 2
Why do we need 2 what?
ambulances?
You may need certainly 1 ambulance to provide response, but in case that ever goes down, it would be good to have a backup. Again, we're currently working through the different scenarios as to how we're going to provide ambulance service within the town. We may not need a second ambulance. We may still rely on Patterson's ambulance. We may get backup from a private company. So we're still working through a lot of details.
I mean, right now we have the county's Transcare down there, right? We have Patterson's ambulance, and then we had Put Lake's. So I mean,
True.
technically we had 3, I guess, if you.
But a week ago,
right, with Transcare.
we almost lost Transcare as a provider.
Second question, what is,
Can you use the microphone, sir? It's just for the record, and state your name, please.
Lawrence McFarland, what does Put Lake do now with no ambulance? Where do
Currently, the Patterson Fire Department, we're using their ambulance. They are providing coverage 5 nights a week. 5 nights a week, and it varies. They're trying to get out more. And then we are paying a private company to staff their ambulance. They are going out on the Patterson ambulance during the daytime hours and evening hours.
Thank you.
Chief?
Matt Spinder, Fire Chief of the Patterson Fire Department. Just to clarify, we talked about the number of ambulances. It would actually be 4, because we currently have an ambulance in service, which will move to reserve status to back up the new ambulance that we expect to take delivery of sometime end of this month, beginning of next. BLS 4, which is currently running as a county ambulance, which runs out of our Station 2, backs up the Patterson ambulance and 2 other towns. And then this would be a 4th ambulance, so.
Correct.
Well, it wouldn't be a 4th ambulance in service. It would just be,
Yes,
it
that's
depends
true.
what direction we go.
Yes.
I think it would be good for us to know definite cost and how we're going to fund it. We could
Well, we know
discuss that at
we know the
next-
definite cost.
All right, and then how we're going to pay for it, comptroller get back to us, and, we'll discuss this next meeting and move
Right.
forward.
But what we're looking for is a little guidance from the board about whether we should pursue that avenue and start working with Putnam Lake to secure that ambulance, or whether we're just going to pass on it.
Well, if TransCare goes away in 30 days, 60 days, however it is, how long, if they do,
If they do.
we would lose the county ambulance, which is down there now, right? And then the TransCare staff we have coming in is staffing an existing ambulance. They're not using their own, are they using their own?
Transcare is not using their own.
They're not using their own,
Well,
okay.
they're using their own for the county, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, but Transcare currently is providing staffing during the day in Pauling, and they're providing staffing for Brewster. They're
Right.
2 of our primary mutual aids.
Right.
They also are providing staffing to cover for the town of Patterson, and then they are providing a separate ambulance, their ambulance, on a county contract.
Through the county, right, okay.
Right.
Yeah, so just to clarify, the TransCare employees staff our ambulance.
Your ambulance, okay.
7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then also usually an average of 2 nights per week on the overnight from 10 to 6. Patterson Fire Department volunteer EMTs staff it the other 5 nights a week. Brewster Fire Department has a contract with TransCare to staff their ambulance 7 days a week. I believe it's from 6 to 6. The county ambulance that you referred to, BLS 4, is part of the county contract. So I would assume if TransCare, becomes an issue in
Right.
terms of insolvency or whatever, and they go out of service, the county is looking to replace that contract with a similar contract, which would include at least 4 paramedics, one of which is stationed here also in the town of Patterson, and a BLS, at least 1 BLS ambulance. So, my understanding in talking with the county is that regardless of what happens to TransCare, the contract with the new provider would be at least equal to
that, okay.
what we have now.
Just so everybody knows, last Wednesday we had talked about this. TransCare, we got notice that TransCare potentially was going to cease service as of midnight. They worked out an agreement, but it was a temporary agreement for 10 days. So potentially either Friday or Monday, I'm not exactly sure when that 10-day clock runs out, we could be sitting in the same situation that we were last Wednesday, where we're not going to have the staff to cover ambulance runs. The county is not. So we're, when we met with the chief and Peter and I with another ambulance provider, we are currently working on different alternatives to fill that gap, because whatever happens, we can't not get an ambulance out when somebody calls in Patterson.
Right.
Yeah, we need a plan B, and they told us
Correct.
they could take over within, 24 hours? They could be up and running, and
Yes. But we got the numbers. I'm gonna share them with you in the morning because I just got them late. There will be an increased cost
From Transcare.
from Transcare.
Okay.
Rich or Pete, can you guys comment at all on discussions you've had with the county with a more global solution to this? Because this is a countywide issue. Obviously, we've seen lots of comment.
Last Wednesday, when I was having conversations with Tony Sutton, they were scrambling. They weren't sure at that point what their plan B was gonna be either. They were reaching out to some of the other firms as some of the other companies that provide ambulance service as we were. And at that point, the other ambulance services weren't geared up to actually step in and provide coverage to everybody. So it was kind of whoever got there first, knocking on their door, they might consider providing service to. One of the ambulance services, Empress, told me point blank that they wouldn't be able to cover Patterson for about a month until they, staffed up to help us out. So one of the other things we've talked about and we've evaluated is going forward, on an emergency basis, going out and hiring our own EMTs. So, and that's certainly a consideration. If we could do that we would go out, actually hire our own EMTs to staff Patterson's ambulance. We're going to do whatever we have to do to make sure that ambulance rolls.
Okay.
One comment on moving forward with the possibility of purchasing the Putnam Lake ambulance. And this is not meant to be any disrespect, certainly to Putnam Lake, but I would ask that we have our town mechanic, one of our town mechanics, take a look at the vehicle. And it's just like any other bidder
Sure.
would on anything. And again, that's meant with the utmost respect, but I know you guys maintain your equipment, but I just meant from a mechanical standpoint. That's all.
Sure, certainly we're going to do our due diligence in working out all the fine details on this. I just need to know whether the board wants me to go forward with trying to secure this ambulance.
Well, I don't think, it's not like we're buying something that we, as you said, if plans change, there's not a market for it. So it's not something that you're buying
It gives us more options and
yeah.
Okay,
It just keeps options open, so,
Yeah.
All right.
Pending that, I'll support it.
we'll start working out the details.
I like to make a motion to add an item to my agenda. So moved.
Second.
Deviate a little bit from past practices. Can we know what the item is?
Sure,
Part
absolutely.
of the surprise, though. It's called faith.
I'd like to add an item regarding the Putnam Lake Neighborhood Watch to my agenda. So moved.
I'm not seconding that, I'm sorry. No, second. I'm just
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So the Putnam Lake Neighborhood Watch Week, we had a meeting last December and we reorganized and we came up with some great ideas to help promote the Neighborhood Watch and just kind of get more participation. And what we decided to do was, one of the things, because we were kind of having haphazard meetings, just kind of when everyone was available and we throw it out there. We didn't have enough time to kind of promote it or advertise. So we got together and we decided to do a year calendar. So we have 4 or 5 presentations for the year. And the first one is going to be Monday, January 25th, 7 p.m. at the Putnam Lake Firehouse. And the topic is so they're going to be crime prevention topics. So the first topic for the year is going to be how to respond to an active shooter incident. So this is a topic that's been pretty hot, around the country. It's been a real issue. So I'm actually going to be presenting. As most of you know, I'm a police officer for almost 19 years and a former SWAT crime prevention officer with the Greenberg Police Department. So hopefully I'm going to teach you how to hopefully prevent an active shooter incident, or if you find yourself in an active shooter incident, how to react, and then how to react when the police get there, and how to deal with the aftermath. So come on out, 7 o'clock, Monday, January 25th at the Putnam Lake Firehouse. And then we will post the other topics, the other presentations as we go along through the year. We're also looking to do a big event over the summertime. It's called National Night Out. I think it's like the first Tuesday in August or sometime we'll announce it. And it's going to be like pretty much a big block party down in the lake and take a stand against crime.
Sounds wonderful.
That's all I have.
Mr. Cook.
Next on the agenda is advertising for a building and maintenance position. And before we get to that, I would like to read a short memo that Mr. Paul Farver of our Building and Operations and Maintenance Department, our guru, sent to the town board. Please be advised that effective January 31st, 2016, I will be retiring from my full-time position from the Building Maintenance and Operations. I would like to respectfully request to continue to assist the supervisor on an as-needed part-time basis. I wish to thank the town board for the opportunity to serve the town of Patterson and my fellow employees for their support. I would like to say that Mr. Fava worked for the town for about 10 years now, 10 plus years. He's probably one of the nicest gentlemen anybody in this room would ever meet. He handles all the tough, gritty assignments, and I've never seen a man not smiling and being proactive to help the town in any way that he can. So
And he's a great cook.
He is a phenomenal cook.
yeah, he's
Seniors are going to miss him.
yeah, we're going to miss him very much so. So we wish him a happy retirement, and I'm sure we will be calling upon him for his expertise in various part-time, as a part-timer, in his expertise for various responsibilities that he's done so wonderful over the 10 plus years.
Do we have to make a motion to accept his resignation or no?
Usually
I'll
we
make
do.
a motion
We do?
that the
Okay.
town board accept Mr. Fava's retirement letter.
If we vote no, will he stay?
He'll have to.
And
Maybe.
just to be clear, we're accepting his resignation from full-time employment.
Right, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Regrettably, aye.
Yeah. Now, following that, I'll make a motion that town board authorize the town clerk to advertise in our local papers for a part-time position for a, you're gonna love this, versatile handyman to perform preventive and routine general building and grounds maintenance at several town facilities. Duties will include but not limited to light painting, carpentry, minor plumbing, minor electrical, installations, assembly, repairs, improvements, etc. So I will give this to the town clerk to put into the,
We will be sending, just so everybody knows, I drafted that this afternoon. If anybody has any corrections or comments, please get them to us, because we need to get this in the paper right away.
Are we advertising it as you said part-time, possibly full-time? What's our
Well, I
thought
wanted
on
to
that?
keep our options open.
So,
I'm not exactly sure what the rationale was, but when the budget was prepared from last year, the position of building and maintenance, which was a full-time one, was switched down to a part-time one.
okay.
that's why I didn't.
So I'm not exactly sure what the rationale was. I wanted to keep our options open so that in interviewing people and you know, soliciting people for the job, you know, based on their qualifications and what they were looking for, we had the option of
Potentially
keeping it
going.
open. And that's also why there's no salary range in there as well.
So are we talking like 20 to 30 or 20 to 40, or we don't, you know, like what's hours?
You mean hours,
Hours,
right?
yeah.
The hours were set up at 20 hours a week
Okay.
currently in this budget. But we do have some money if we needed to hire the right person for a full-time position. And trust me, with the work that Paul was doing, we could use a full-time position to assist me, especially in the districts.
And that would be over 30 would be full-time for the count, for us? What's 35?
I'm not exactly sure how that would work.
You know what the number, like, what do you breach into full-time? 35?
I thought it was 29. Anything over 29, 30 hours makes it full-time.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
I would just like to add a comment that I would love to hire someone that's a resident of Patterson. I think that should be something that we strive for.
Well, we can certainly consider that when we do the interviews.
Good point.
And so salary is commensurate with experience, you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Next, I'll make a motion that the town board authorize the town clerk to advertise for a sanitation worker position. The details that will go along with that position will be provided by the supervisor and our highway superintendent. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion.
Yes.
Is this a laborer position or an RMEO position?
We are looking for a mechanic slash
Okay.
laborer. Correct, Russ?
Correct, yes.
So they would have a CDL also, Russ?
Yes.
Okay, so it's, okay. Thanks.
Antoinette, did we vote on the first one?
No.
Sorry?
Did we vote on the first one on the
Yes.
advertising?
Yeah.
We did? Okay.
I don't think we did.
You want to
You
do it over just to
seconded
make sure?
the other advertisement, right? Is that what you're talking
Well,
about?
in reality, we don't actually have to vote.
Have to
on
vote
it,
on it?
so.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that brings us down to other business. Does any town board member have any other business they wish to discuss?
I have one item that I neglected from Matt's memo with the fee waiver. We approved the fee waiver for the U.S. Army's 42nd Infantry Division Band on Friday, August 5th at 7 p.m. He asked for approval to be able to provide pizza and soda to that band out of his own budget at a cost not to exceed $200. And so he's asking for that approval. I recommend we approve it. So moved.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That brings us down to public recognition. Does any member?
I got one thing.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, jumping the gun.
We have been notified by the Patterson Fire Department that 2 individuals are to be removed from the Patterson Fire Department insurance program effective immediately, namely Albert Mellon, M-E-L-N, and Damian Santiago. That's it.
We don't actually have to take any action on that, just so everybody knows.
But it's part of the contract that they notify us.
Well, they notified the town clerk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Anybody else? Now we're at public recognition. So does any member of the audience have anything they would like to bring forward to the board? Mr. Major.
Good evening. I understand we have a committee for emergency preparedness in the ambulance. We don't know who that committee is. Could you please let us know who the members are and maybe what their expertise is?
Oh, were you talking, all right.
Well, I
We
know
have
the two of
this-
you are on a committee, but I hear
Yeah,
committee and...
Okay, there's 2 separate committees running
Okay.
right now. One is, as supervisor, I appointed an EMS committee consisting of Councilman Dan Durando and myself. We have another committee that I'll let you fill in the blanks on if you'd like.
The Emergency Management
The
Committee?
Emergency Management.
Emergency Management Committee is made up of members of each fire department, the library, town recreation supervisor, people in the community that are involved in pre or post-disaster emergency response.
Do they have specific names, or are they floating? In other words, the
They-
fire department can send different people for different
Exactly.
names?
Right. We have the schools send different representatives, whoever's available. So
Fine.
it's not specific people.
Okay,
Persons.
fine.
I think he's talking about the committee that met last Tuesday.
The EMS committee? Isn't that what you just said?
Well, no, I talked about you and I, and then we have the separate committee looking at the ambulance issue. That's what you're asking?
Yes.
So that's made up of specific individuals that we've solicited out of the community. Certainly, there are representatives of both fire departments on the committee, as well as other people who have a lot of expertise within the community.
Okay, will they be named? I mean, we had a sanitation committee and everybody was named. Will they be named so that the community knows who's on this particular project? You don't have to do it tonight, I'm just, think about it.
Certainly, I could provide you with a list of names of the people who are on it.
Fine, thank you. Kevin, as the spearhead for the master plan, I was wondering if at the next town board meeting, you could provide us with an update and maybe let us know when the draft document will finally be ready and when we will have a public hearing as it relates to the long overdue master plan.
I thought when we talked, the last time we talked about this and having a joint board meeting, that there was a decision that we really wasn't a need for a revision.
We are currently awaiting the planning board to give us their recommendations. They are currently working on it. It's being spearheaded by Ron Taylor, who sits on the planning board. And their opinion is that, for the most part, the master plan is in good shape. It just needs a little bit of tweaking here and there. And they are currently working on what those items are.
I will follow up with Ron and give an update as to what.
Please,
Okay.
we understand that. We understand that no money was put in the budget, but we also have to understand that the town council advised this board of the importance of updating your master plan. Even it was nothing more than taking the old plan, blowing the dust off it, and putting a stamp on it, because of concerns for future litigation.
Correct.
That you should have a current master plan, and we're now 5 years past due. Thank you.
Anyone else? Chief?
Matt Spinder, Chief of the Patterson Fire Department. Pursuant to the contract, and you made reference to in your reports, the quarterly report for Patterson Fire Department for the fourth quarter 2015. Fire runs 90. This includes automatic fire alarms, structural, brush, vehicle fires, motor vehicle accidents, other rescue calls, hazmat and hazardous conditions, etc.
Is that report you're reading from
Yes,
something that normally would be given to us ahead of
I
time?
will submit it, yeah.
Thank you.
EMS runs for the quarter, last quarter, 2015, 219. For the year 2015, Patterson Fire Department answered 1,245 emergency runs, the most in department history, including over 300 fire runs and over 900 EMS runs. The department conducted 75 drills, totaling 1,300 man-hours, over 340 man-hours of additional formal training, not to include a 104-hour Firefighter 1 graduate and a 180-hour EMT graduate. Members also contributed over 5,500 man-hours in meeting, work details, public events, etc., and countless other hours performing apparatus and equipment checks, meetings, etc. The amount of time and effort contributed by the dedicated volunteer members of the department is staggering, as they ensure that the department is ready to respond to and mitigate emergencies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week throughout the year. Respectfully submitted.
When you, just a quick question, when you, like for instance, now I know you said 219 ambulance runs?
Correct.
Is that exclusive of anything TransCare? That's just what you guys are doing, right? Or
That is the Patterson Fire Department ambulance dispatched to, for the fourth quarter.
So it's only
219.
your staff, it's not TransCare? We're excluding what TransCare is
No,
doing?
that is our ambulance.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
during the
that's-
day,
I wanna make sure
our
we're clear.
ambulance is staffed by TransCare employees.
Right.
In the evenings.
So it's your
obviously,
ambulance. What he's asking though is which staff. Is there a breakdown that shows?
There is none.
So
It's not, okay, so it's inclusive
their
of
ambulance.
TransCare? Okay,
Correct.
that's what I just wanted to clarify, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Matt. Obviously, you guys are doing an outstanding job in the
Thank you.
community, as is Putnam Lake Fire Department. We appreciate your hard work in keeping us all safe. Anyone else? Entertain a motion to adjourn?
So
Do you have
What's the
something
matter?
else?
No, I was gonna make the motion.
Oh, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you all for coming.